So let's talk about British rappers.
How can I be homophobic? My bitch is gay.
And, you know, I get the feeling that for American listeners, they're not as well regarded.
And look at my balls, fatty and dick.
And at a certain point, I feel like the internet is keeping that divide going by virtually only ever highlighting the cringier elements of the grime genre. Now, I know, that's not a representation of all British rappers. Cats like Lil Sims, Dave, and Ocean Wisdom have definitely given me a more full view of what British MCs are capable of on the underground scene. But I'm sorry, on its face, a Cockneyed accent rapping has always just sounded like a bit of a novelty to American rap fans.
Hitman in a top try, see a man topless, even a stick is gay.
And that song in particular especially didn't help. It sucks to say, but for what American rap fans are willing to listen to in earnest, British rap is just a couple steps up from rap and granny in terms of taking it seriously. I mean, remember how the internet essentially dubbed rap with an English accent as the official sound of all those ironically hardcore kids cartoon rap song videos you probably used to see more of a couple years ago, you know, before AI took over? Honestly, I think probably rapping in another language might be the better option, because, hey, a lot of Korean rap has crossed over with BTS and that Itji Ma song a couple of years ago. But since most people don't even know what they're saying, the songs are easier to digest because you can just ignore the words. But you can't do that when they're speaking English, and especially when they're doing it in a wacky accent you're not used to.
Alarmed, distressed, LOL, I'm scared, harassment.
Look, I'm just saying, there's a reason Iggy Azalea never rapped in her Australian accent. Because as soon as people would have heard what sounds like a foreigner, she'd be tossed into the outsider bin of rap music. And sure, she definitely got the boot pretty soon after everyone found out she was white, but she wouldn't have even gotten a foot in the door if she came out sounding like Crocodile Dundee's niece. So when it comes to Brits rapping, I think the American side of the pond just likes rap that feels cool and dangerous, and Americans just can't shake the fact that that accent makes us think of tea and crumpets and spotted dick, and not hardcore edginess. And sure, intellectually you might know that a Cockneyed accent signifies being of a lower economic class, but to the average American nigga's ears, any British hip-hop song might as well be rapped by a stuffy old English professor.
I don't like your tweet, sir.
And again, I want to make it clear, there's still quite a few British rappers I enjoy, and I hope there's a way to get past that stigma someday, but zooming out as to why they never really cross over outside of meme cringe material, I really do think the accent is always going to be a stumbling block that keeps American fans from venturing into UK grime, at least any further than like Man's Not Hot or something. But that brings us to today's song Inglorious by slowthai featuring Skepta, and I will give the rappers here credit for starting off the track and how they seem aware of those aforementioned presumptions.
You judge me on my appearance, face value, and that.
And I'll give them this. I do feel like these two MCs are a bit more interesting than this song leads them on as. Like, with slowthai in particular, I've actually gotten a lot more complexity from what I've heard from him as an overall artist. I mean, his first album was called Nothing Great About Britain, so, there's clearly some shit on his mind. Unfortunately, it's not showcased here as well, but when I journeyed into his other tracks, I definitely got the sense of someone with a bit more going on behind the eyes than the average MC. And while the guest rapper Skepta isn't too deep lyrically, mostly just doing flashy boy fashion rhymes from what I've heard, it was still pretty well put together regardless. That said, I was asked to review today's song, and sorry to say, but the track just doesn't feel quite as dope as it could have been. Like, the song has the title of a badass Quentin Tarantino movie, and yet this is the hook.
Inglorious bosses, phenomenal, abdominal, cool, yeah.
Phenomenal abdominals? Like, what is this, a slogan for a CrossFit t-shirt? It's just so awkwardly worded in that try-hard lyrical miracle way, so it doesn't really hit hard as a hook, you know? Like, maybe if he reversed those rhymes and said something like, I'll put a hole in your abdominal, that would have made more concrete sense. But framing it like, I'll put a hole in an obstacle, like, that just feels like wordiness for its own sake.
Way too sweet.
Yeah, and he does that twice in his verse.
Way too deep. Can't not fives, can't kiss my feet.
And both times he does it, it doesn't lead to a punchline or anything badass or clever, so a lot of the energy in his verse gets kneecapped by those extended moments with no real payoff.
What do you do with your breeze? Right now I'm breezing.
And wait, what's this slang supposed to mean again? Cause yeah, this is another problem with foreign rappers. The slang is so different, it's hard to glom onto the context, especially when they muddle the meaning like this. Cause like, okay, I think when he says all they do is chat breeze, that sounds like, yeah, all these assholes do is huff a bunch of air without actually doing anything to back up their words, right? But then he says,
right now I'm breezing.
So it's like, wait, is breezing a good thing or a bad thing to you? Cause you just put other people down for doing it, but now you're doing it? Now see, you could look at the specific wording and say, oh, his ops, they chat and breeze, but him, he's just breezing, like he's just chilling and relaxing. But, you know, when he essentially puts those two contrasting connotations in there and doesn't really do any wordplay on it, it just kind of feels like two different meanings stacked against each other without any real flip or subversion to justify it.
Right now I'm breezing. Train spotting, I got babies on my ceiling.
And, have you guys seen the movie Train Spotting? Yeah, he's referencing a scene where the characters in the movie have been getting so whacked out on drugs, they accidentally kill a baby and end up having high-definition guilt trip hallucinations about it. So, for the previous line to be him saying, yeah, man, I'm breathing, just kicking back and chilling, only for the next line to be about having drug-induced dead baby hallucinations? Yeah, that doesn't sound like you're chilling at all. And that's before he awkwardly ends the verse like this.
To the life, when no course, you're a tourist, only go with the purest. Ace Ventura.
Like what? Was Ace Ventura only rescuing purebreds? He didn't strike me as a dog master race kind of guy. And just the way that rhyme scheme unravels itself at the end there.
You're a tourist, only go with the purest. Ace Ventura.
I roll with the purest Ace Ventura. Like, nah, dude, you gotta come with a better rhyme there. Especially when it's at the tail end of a verse like this, because now it's all I'm noticing. Like, sure, the tur part of tourist and Ventura rhymes, but when you try to trail off the final syllable there, it sounds awkward and just comes off like you're forcing a rhyme scheme because you didn't want to meet the challenge of finding a better way to rhyme what you were saying. And then we get to Skepta, who, in contrast to slowthai's hype boy energy, carries the more sly, cheeky English street tough persona in his rhymes.
Way too gas. Heard man talk about drip, rude boy, what you know about splash?
Like, ooh, alright, y'all wanna talk about drip? Like, who really got the fashion game on lock? Okay, let a proper British bloke show you how it's done.
What a beautiful murder, with a samurai sword I slaughter.
And then flipping the fashion wordplay about water into then being about the splash of blood from a slashing samurai sword? Like, come on, that's fucking cool.
I'm directing movies like Gaspar, I drive the Wraith like it's NASCAR.
Look, you can't tell me homeboy's not getting in his lyrical bag right now.
I love the look on their faces when they look in the whip and it's a black star, that's for all the jokes about the jam jar.
Yeah, wait, what's that about a jam jar? Because I get that he's talking about the racial prejudice in the UK that makes white people double taking a black man having money, but what does a jam jar have to do with anything? Okay, so apparently jam jar is wordplay that's referencing a literal jam jar and a reference to cars. Because according to how the Cockney slang developed, cars get stuck in jams and jams are stuck in jars, so that's the first layer. But then also, jam is often dark, and apparently there's a famous British marmalade company called Robertson's that has a clearly Samboified caricature on it, so Skepta's likely had to deal with his share of insensitive cracks about that as a kid. Wow, well, aren't we learning a lot about England's specific brand of racism? But yeah, if you're not British, that's gonna fly completely over your head in terms of meaning.
What you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Don't act like British slang isn't hard to understand sometimes. That said, so is American black slang a lot of times. Like, we got completely different slanguages between the East Coast, West Coast, and the South alone, and that's before we get into the really regional shit.
You know about holy water?
Holy water? Wait, was this Christian UK rap this whole time?
I stood at the altar, fuck a tab.
Oh, okay, it's a reference to LSD. Well, shit, that's just me not knowing much about heavy drug culture, so, hey, called my square ass out, I guess. Although in the UK, I be hearing y'all be having, like, intense parties, man, like fucking bowls full of pills and eating them like candy and shit. I remember hearing that shit, so y'all be a little wackadoo over there.
I do a whole sheet to myself, by myself, now these big problems just looking much smaller.
And apparently this shit is so potent, it's giving him the kind of psychedelic revelations that make the emotional weight of his daily problems shrink in relation to the unraveling of the bigger cosmic emotional picture on some psychological Alice in Wonderland type shit.
Like if I come down, I'm not sure.
Yeah, me neither.
She said that I should take my shades off. I was like, what for?
You know, honestly, she's probably just checking to see if you're still conscious. Hey, buddy, you're not seeing babies on the ceiling again, are you? Overall, I gotta give the song a 3.5 out of 5. That second verse has too many dope flowing ass bars for me to call it average, but the underwhelming feel of the first verse and the underbaked hook just feels like it's almost getting me on board, but there's just not quite enough steam to really pull me whole hog into that hype boy energy. Well, that's the episode. So check out all that fun stuff and I'll catch you next time. Peace.